Hello, everyone. I am Geraldine St. Joseph. Hasn't it been an interesting 2021 already? I'm here to tell you it will get better. May not feel like it, but all these things that are happening are creating huge changes energetically and physically all around us. We need to remember that we create our own our own surroundings. So we can either react in fear to everything that's happening, or we can react with curiosity, wanting to understand, wanting to learn. I myself feel like the whole world is in a state of flux and that we all need to really lift ourselves up and raise our vibrations so that we're not caught in the undertow. We want things to get better. We want to grow. This is about expansion. It doesn't have to be about fear. So as we move forward, what I would like to do is pull a couple of cards and just see what Spirit has to say and see what Spirit is telling us we have to look forward to. Then I would like to end by doing a little energy clearing and maybe an upliftment so that we all feel a little bit better and can sleep a little bit better tonight. So if you're ready, I have several different decks here, and Spirit told me to pull from various decks so that we can explore. We want to explore. We want to get as much information and diverse information as possible because let's face it, everything that's happening, not just in America or around the world right now, not just with COVID, but with just the energetic everywhere, all of us have our own concerns, and then there's the global concerns, and then there's the local concerns. So we're going to look at this from a lot of different perspectives so that we can get an idea of what is the best course of action, where do we need to go, what is the best thing for us to do, and what can we expect. I think all of us are a little tired of these surprises. Doesn't mean it's going to end anytime soon, but let's see what Spirit has to say. So the first deck I want to pull from is an Angel Tarot. I actually was not going to use this one, but as I was speaking, Spirit kept drawing me to it. So let's see what's in here for us to see. Okay. Think about what is it that we most need to know? What would be most helpful at this point in time for whenever you're watching this video? Okay. Two of water. Two of water, as you can see in this beautiful card. We have two beings, mermaids, mermen, merpeople, and you see they are with this larger whale. There are other things happening behind them, and as we move up, we can see that the waves are moving. So what this is telling me is that right now it's important for us to really look below the surface. At the surface, everything looks very disruptive, chaotic, like there's no rhyme or reason to what's going on. But if we look below the surface, we see that things get calmer as we go down. And as we get to the bottom, we see that there is actually a plan. There's something that's happening that is meant to bring us together, to bring us closer, to help us resolve issues. Here in America, I know for the last so long, we've been becoming more and more polarized, more and more where we don't see each other's point of view at all. What this card is telling me is that there is a resolution. We are going to have the opportunity to really speak to one another, but more than that, to hear one another. We need to use what's happening as a jumping off point, as a starting point, to really start listening to one another. What is going on that people are so reactive, that they're willing to lay life and limb to go and create these issues? What's happening in people's psyches? What's happening in people's spirits? And it's not on the surface. It's not about the count. It's not about the politicians. It's much, much deeper. When you lead through fear and you cultivate that in people, they have to be willing to take that in and allow themselves to be pulled in that direction. They have to be willing to allow themselves to be led in that direction. We are all looking for positive, strong leadership. What we need is leadership that's going to be more inclusive of everyone and help us have these conversations, have the tough talks. The only thing that is going to dispel fear and hate is getting to know one another, is seeing, what does this really mean? What is really going on here? Are you afraid of gay people? Are you afraid of people who look different than you? What are you afraid of? And fear basically comes out of ignorance. And ignorance not being, oh, you're just stupid. Ignorance being, I have not dealt with this. I haven't met people like this. I have no idea where this is coming from. Where is the background of this? It's up to us to open the lines of communication. It's up to us to really start talking and listening to one another. Why are you afraid of that? What makes you fear that? And if your answer is because you read something in some book, then you need to reevaluate what you're paying attention to and what you're getting out of those things. So, 2 of water. Things are a lot deeper than they appear. And we are looking forward to a really solid resolution of conflict, but a positive resolution, a clear resolution, one in which we can come together and learn how to understand one another. Remember, peace is possible. It's up to us to create it. And peace comes in all kinds of layers. So we need inner peace. We have to be at peace with who we are. We look for that. We cultivate that in ourselves. And then we cultivate peace around us, that we have a peaceful home, we have a peaceful environment, we have a peaceful society, and it spirals out. Peace can only happen if we let it. We are central to that. Okay, so that was the Angel Tarot. That was our first card. Let's see. Which way does Spirit want to go next? I think we're going to look at soul coaching. This is what that looks like. The soul coaching oracle cards. These are really nice. I like them very much. Let's see what Spirit has to say. What is it that we most need to know at this time? wisdom. Wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is not just knowing something, but being able to bring it into the world. Wisdom is not just knowing how something is applied, but understanding the fullness of that knowledge and understanding the fullness of that energy. The affirmation says, all I truly need is within me. When you're reading something and suddenly you get that feeling in your solar plexus where your solar plexus get tight, or you feel that kind of a feeling where things kind of sink and go down, you need to examine that. You need to pay attention to the way your body is responding to things, because the way your body is responding to things tells you about your energetic. It sees further than your mind can. And wisdom has that kind of viewpoint where it's a higher viewpoint. It's a viewpoint that allows for the bigger picture, and that's what we're looking for here, is the bigger picture. We have to keep our eye on that. Otherwise, we fall backwards. And we may not be prepared for what's coming. So Spirit says that you have wisdom in your soul. You need to start learning how to trust your inner wisdom. You need to fully embrace your intuitive nature and intuitive self. Start working on that and building on that energetic. And I am here to help. And there are other people who are here to help, who are reputable people who can help with this. We are here to lift up the people of this world. We are here to raise up the earth, to raise up our vibration, to be able to look up and see what's truly there. And we do this using our inner wisdom. I'm going to take a second card from this deck. Were we just talking about leadership? Yes, we were. Okay, so the leadership card. We look for strong leadership. We look for strong leaders because there are so many things that we're not sure about. And when we're not sure about things, what we want to do is have someone show us. We want a leader, a strong manager, a good CEO, a president we can look up to. Or a national leader. It could be a local leader. It could just be the person in the room who really knows what they're talking about or seems to. You have natural leaders who are born into leadership. They have something about their persona that just makes you listen. And when things happen, when there are emergencies or there's chaos, the natural leaders in the room will stand out because people will just gravitate towards them. And it's not always the person that has the title, but they're the person who has the energetic. A good leader will look at the totality of their flock, so to speak, or for the people around them, and will do what is for the greatest good of the whole. Then there are leaders who are self-involved and self-propelled, where they are only looking at their own needs and how to stay in power. Generally, these are not natural leaders. They have cultivated a skill of charisma or manipulation in order to get where they are. But what Spirit is saying is that you can be a leader. Now, Spirit just told you have wisdom, and now Spirit is saying you have leadership qualities that you can engender and you can really nurture. And the affirmation there is, I am a beacon of radiance. support and love. So some people talk about leading from behind, and that's kind of the way, like a mom type leader, like the icon of a mom. I know a lot of us don't have those kind of mothers, but the kind of mother who loves you no matter what. It is unconditional love. But that love gives you the support that you need to move forward. That love gives you discipline. Discipline means to learn. They're going to put those, lines in the sand that you are not to cross, so that you learn how to be the best person you can be. Leadership. Leadership with wisdom is very important. Not just now, but always. And it's something we need to remember. Listen to your body's wisdom. That is something we all need to be working on right now. What's next? I have 3 more decks. I'm considering only using 2. What do you guys think? 1, 2, or 3? I'm going to do something that I normally don't do, and I'm going to use a deck that is primarily female. I often feel that these types of decks are out of balance. However, this particular deck, I have no idea how to pronounce that. I always say El Qui, and I'm pretty sure I'm wrong because I don't speak French. But this deck is really beautiful and very inspiring. The artwork is just gorgeous. So what I found with this deck is that even though it is a feminine deck, it's very balanced because it has all kinds of messages in it, and it's just presented in a more feminine manner. It's not that it's only feminine energy, which I like. So let's see. Okay. And Elque means she who. Let's see what we most need to know. Ha! Here we go again. She who brings the light. Light, serenity, being a beacon. Again, we're getting the message that we need to be the change that we want to see in the world, but even more than that, we need to be light, bright, peaceful, bringing that higher vibration and letting people know that it will be okay. And yes, I am very aware that a lot of people are suffering financially, physically, and otherwise. There has always been suffering in the world. It is something that is a part of our 3D reality. But just because things are not going our way or things are difficult does not mean that we have to succumb to the weight of it, and we have to suppress our light. We can move through these times and move through these incidences with light in our hearts so that we are loving and nurturing and supportive to those who need it. That's what being a beacon means. I was once told at a funeral where I was helping the family, and I was helping to take care of some younger children and try to help a family through a tragedy. One of the uncles came up to me, and I was very young. I was like 15. And he said to me, an act of kindness is an act of love. And that has always stayed with me. It is right at my fingertips at all times. An act of kindness is an act of love. And an act of kindness reverberates throughout. It's like paying things forward. Do your best to be as kind as you can be, even when you're in sorrow. Because having that love in your heart and being kind and expressing yourself in a loving manner will help lighten things up for everyone around you and everyone connected to you. It's our job, each of us individually, to lift ourselves up so that as we lift ourselves up, so we lift others. So she who brings light. So we've heard about wisdom, we've heard about leadership, we've heard about working together, and we've heard about light. Shall we do a second card from this deck? Love this deck. And again, this is what I'm using. It's a very beautiful deck. I believe we have them at the Enlightenment Shop at Parastudy, Chester Heights, PA. I'm sure you can also find them online. Okay. She who rises up. You could say he who rises up also. As I said, these different themes can be both masculine and feminine. They're just presented in a more feminine manner. But she who rises up, empower, uplift, elevate. Let's elevate one another. Let's uplift one another instead of complaining and going down that dark pathway where everything is in a downward spiral. We know right now so many people are feeling depressed and down. It's dark. On the Northern Hemisphere, it's the darkest time of the year. We're dealing with not as much sunlight as we need. We're dealing with being stuck in our houses because of COVID. We're dealing with businesses being slow because we're only allowed to operate at so much of an occupancy. We're dealing with all of these things, but what we need to remember is we're dealing with these things together. We may be dealing with them in different ways. Like some people have continued to work. Some people have gotten laid off. Some people are not having any financial difficulty at all. Some people are in dire straits. So even though we're dealing with similar things, we're not in the same boat necessarily. But we can help one another. We can uplift one another. We can look around and see, okay, what can I do? Even if you are one of the people who is being hit the hardest with this, you can look around and see, how can I help? And when you're looking around and you're trying to figure out, how do I uplift? How do I support other people and those around me and my community? When you're doing these things, you're raising your vibration, and by raising your vibration, you're raising the vibration of everyone around you. It may be as simple as going grocery shopping for a neighbor because they're not feeling good. It could be as simple as smiling at someone through the glass of your car, or smiling so big behind your mask that you could see it in your eyes, or saying a compliment or doing something nice. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It doesn't have to be paying somebody's rent or doing something major. If you can do that, that's awesome. But for most of us, that's not really a possibility. But do what you can. It doesn't need to be big. It can be simple. But with each kindness that we show one another, we bring more and more peace into the world. And isn't that what we all want? Because peace is possible. We need to create it one by one, step by step, kind act by kind act. The other half of that is that we need to be very observant of our own reactiveness and observant of our own difficulties, our own shortcomings, and take responsibility for ourselves. As each of us takes responsibility for our own part, then we can work together, and then we can do more. So we've talked about being a light, leadership, wisdom, working together. Now I'm going to go to a deck that I haven't played with at all. And let's see what we get here. And this is the Tarot Grand Lux. And this is a regular Tarot deck. But the imagery is a bit different. So let's look and see what we have here. What is it we most need to know at this time? What is a hint or the information that you can give us that would be helpful on a larger scale or individually? Okay. Nice. Okay. So this is the Chariot. And generally the Chariot doesn't have quite this much action in it in most decks. But we're not reading most decks. We're reading this one. Anyone who reads tarot knows that each deck has some different flavor to it that helps you to understand it a little bit differently. So the Chariot in this deck, as we look at it, there's a lot of action here. In most decks, there's no action. They're kind of waiting. They're on a stage and they're just kind of waiting. These guys are not waiting. They are moving. What I want you to notice here is that we have the two horses. You have black and you have white. You have the subconscious, you have the conscious. You may have the shadow. You have the light. And even though their heads are going in two completely different directions, their bodies appear to be going forward. So even though they may not agree with what they want or where they think they're going, physically they're going in the same direction. They kind of have to, because this gentleman, even though you can't see the Chariot behind them, is being pulled by them. So even though they may appear to be going in two different directions, because if you watch their heads, they're going in two different directions, their bodies are going in one direction. You see the man behind them holding the reins of both, and he is in the center, so he is the center point. So what could that possibly mean? So what that means to me is that although we see ourselves as very diverse and going in different directions, the truth of the matter is that we need to be going in the same direction if we're going to get anywhere. We need to come back together, and that's what the Chariot driver is doing. He is above the fray. He is above the chaos. So we need to pull ourselves above the arguments, above the chaos, and come to a place, as you can see, like everything, it's clear around him. There's like light behind him. The clouds are behind him and the horses are kicking up dust, but he is untouched by that. That's where we need to be. We need to lift ourselves up so that we are above the fray, so that we are not allowing ourselves to sink down into depression, into negativity, into, all that back and forth tussle. Lift yourself above the chaos. Use your inner wisdom, as the cards told us earlier. Use your leadership to lead people up and out of that. Be the light. Be the one who comes in and sees things in a positive manner, that changes things, that changes the perspective for the people around you. And if you can't do that, find a way to be in connection with someone who can. And I'm not talking pie in the sky kind of stuff. I'm talking people who are looking for answers, people who are trying to make things better instead of sowing the seeds of the disagreements and disruption. This is a 7 card. 7 is harmony. So even though we have all this chaos down here, there's all kinds of dust, all kinds of stuff going on up here, we look at his face and his expression, and he is definitely above the fray. He's like looking up. He sees something different, and he's going for it. Keep your eye on the prize. What is it that you want? What is your best hope in this situation? That's what you need to go for. So shall we do a second? This is going to be kind of a long one, I think, if we keep doing two. But I'm going to do it anyway, because Spirit is saying yes. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, that is the Knight of Swords. I find it interesting that there's an eagle there. He's in flight. And if you look at him, I want to make sure I know what I'm saying here. If you look at him, he's ready to capture his prey. I mean, his claws are up, his eyes are looking at whatever it is that he's going for, and he's completely ready to capture his prey. He's in full force. This guy does not look like a happy guy. He looks very determined. He doesn't look like a sourpuss either. He just looks very concentrated. And he's holding his sword, but he is not holding it in such a way as to be prepared for battle. It's there. He's showing it to you. He has that power, but he is not wielding it over you. So this is a card of preparation. Be prepared. Know what you need. Know what it is you want. And again, we keep being told to keep yourself up and out of the fray, to remove yourself, to listen, not just speak, to use your inner wisdom, to see things from all sides. The eagle is very keen. Their eyesight is very clear. Is yours? Is mine? I think that's something we all need to talk about and question in ourselves. How clearly are we seeing things? Are we even able or capable to see things clearly? When will the dust settle? How do we make our decisions when things are not clear? And he's showing you, be prepared. Swords are air, and they're about stress, yes. They're about battle sometimes, but they're also about cutting through and getting to the meat of things. So it's about cutting through and finding answers, like cutting through all the chaos, cutting through bureaucracy, cutting through, whatever is in your way to get to the real answer, to find your clarity. And that is what the Knight tells us. Okay. So again, that is the Grand Lux Tarot. And that is the first time I've ever really looked at these cards. I've had them for a little while, but I haven't used them. I think I might start because they're kind of cool. Last deck. And this is an interesting deck. It's called Beyond Lemuria. And for those of you who don't know what Lemuria is, most people have heard of Atlantis as an ancient civilization. Lemuria is also an ancient civilization. It was, some people say it was older than Atlantis. I'm not as familiar with Lemuria as I could be. I have studied Atlantis a little bit more. Atlantis, I think, was a little more scientifically evolved, whereas Lemuria was more maybe spiritually evolved. But I'll have to look at that a little bit more. So these cards are amazing. They're beautiful. They're very intricate, as you can see from the cover there. There's a lot in them. So let's see what this ancient civilization might have to tell us. I picked a card earlier, and basically what it was telling us was that we need to dig for the truth, and that we have been given instruction. We do know how to avoid this destruction or avoid doing things to ourselves that are not necessary. So let's look. Okay. What do we most need to know right now as a group? Oh, beautiful. Look how pretty that is. So that is the solar plexus chakra. For those of you who do not know very much about chakras, the solar plexus is the point right here underneath, like your ribs are right here, so it's right there. It is the place where mind, body, spirit connects. So it is one of your central chakras. It helps you to balance the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and the mental, so that one does not get out of control with another. Solar plexus also is about your self-empowerment, how you feel about yourself, how you utilize your energetic. It's also, in my opinion, the best way to tell if you're talking about your intuition, or if it is more emotionally based, or if it's something that's mental. If it's your intuition, you will feel it in your solar plexus. If your answer is a yes, your solar plexus will relax and they kind of push you forward or pull you forward. If it's a no, you feel like you're getting yanked back from that area and it closes up and it gets real tight. If it does neither, it really doesn't matter. You can go either way. So what does this mean to us right now? And again, it's talking about radiant illumination. So your solar plexus is your central sun in your energetic body. So oftentimes when I do different energy healings or energy work, we connect our central sun with the core of the planet, with the center of our universe, or galaxy rather, which is our sun, and then to the center of the universe. And we connect all these things in order to communicate with one another. But again, we're being told it's about radiating. So how are we going to set our energy so that we radiate this positive, beautiful, energetic that we want to radiate out into the world? Because what we want is that as time goes on, when we walk through the world, we want people to see us coming and feel us coming, and for that to be a good thing. That we walk in our power and our strength and our light, and that as we walk through the world, we enlighten it, which means we lift up ourselves as well as others, as well as those around us and those who interact with us. How are we going to do that? A good way to do that is through the white light meditation. I will be teaching a course shortly about psychic self-defense and about really exploring your intuition. So just keep checking my page. It'll be up probably in a week or two, and then you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But for right now, for today, I want to give you guys the gift of upliftment. If you're ready, couple of things that are good to do. So rose water immediately will lighten up the area around you. It is one of the highest vibrations on the planet right now. And it's also good for your skin, and it smells good, as long as you're not allergic to rose. So I always like to have rose water around me so that when I start feeling low or things start feeling heavy, I use the rose water in order to lighten things up. I am wearing this beautiful symbol that one of my closest friends, Shaman Christopher, gave to me as I was leaving the island in 2010 when I left Hawaii. And this is about growth and change and expansion. And this is where we are right now. This is where our world is right now. And we need to embrace the change in order to make it through in the most successful way, in the most fluid way, in the least painful way. Because change is change, and you could fight it as much as you want to, but it's going to happen, whether you want it to or not, because it's a bigger thing than just us. Okay. Are you guys ready? Let's have a little quiet time. Okay. Hopefully you will be able to hear me. There may be times during this journey that you lose my voice. Just follow the energy. And remember, you are capable, you are light, and you are loved. Take a deep breath. Hold it and release it very slowly. Relax. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath and release. Relax. There's a ball of white light above our heads. From it emanate shafts of light that enter us through the tops of our heads and fills us with its energy. We feel this gold and white energy being poured into us and around us like a soothing warm oil. We feel it pour into our heads and onto our faces and our shoulders. It fills us from our feet to the top of our heads. It bathes us. We smell this wonderful warm oil. It is a soothing, nurturing scent. We feel the white light moving through us, gently cleansing, removing any and all negativity, gently loosening and removing any blockages to our energy. And we see ourselves as glowing from within. The ball of white light expands. It covers the sky above us, and from it rains the oil that cleanses our surroundings. It permeates our aura and our energetic and our entire being. We feel it fill the space around us as it fills our rooms and our homes, our vehicles, whatever land surrounds us, the town, the city, the county, and all of us everywhere. We feel this wonderful, warm, white light oil that glows in big waves, covering the entire earth, connecting us to one another, connecting us to Source and to the Earth Mother as it sinks down into the soil, nourishing her, healing her. And we see those we love encompassed in the oil, brilliant and white, gold and light, gently loosening their knotted muscles, relaxing. As it pulls the plugs out of their energetic ears and allows us to hear one another. And it cleanses our throats so that we may fully express who we truly are and encourage those around us to express who they are, empowered and full, loving, and as we see the white light oil, as we are engulfed in it, and we can breathe more freely and more cleanly, and as it destroys and destories the negativity in us and around us, we see from our hearts a beautiful golden, green, and pink. And the green sits within us, but the pink goes out and spreads and becomes part of the oil. And this pink is our love of ourselves and each other, cleared and fluid, uplifting, empowered, ready to serve and grow. We feel the golden white light as an oil, as it hugs us with its pink tint and hue. It permeates all around us with its loving energy. It permeates all of our energetic and the energetic of the planet. It goes deep into the soil and high into the air. And we gift this love, this loving support, and this nurturing energetic to ourselves and those around us throughout this globe, to all people and all places and all things, that healing may commence in a loving, nurturing manner. And we share this support and this loving energy to every living being on the planet. The planet herself, all plant life, especially the trees and the grass and the green that allows us to breathe clean air. We thank you. And all the animals, the insects, the amphibians, the sea creatures, the reptiles, the birds, the mammals, including us. And whether we understand each other or not, we send love and appreciation to one another. And we open our hearts to understanding to understanding the energetic and the soul of every being, every creature, every energetic that we come across, but most specifically right now to one another, that our ears are free to listen, to truly hear and understand and seek understanding of one another. Let this energy wash over you. Let it soak through your pores and into your vibration. And now we see the waves of the white light oil as it begins to dissipate, soak in. It leaves its essence on everything that it touched. It leaves this message with you and me and everyone around us, even if they were not consciously a part of this prayer. But for all those who seek assistance, for all those who wish in their hearts for guidance, for relief, may this love, this light, give them that relief and that support and that faith that they need to lift themselves up and carry on. And once again, we see the ball of white light above our heads as it ascends back into the heavens, leaving behind a soft white glow on all that it touched. We take a deep breath and we release. We feel calm and peaceful and confident. We will walk through this world with love in our hearts. Peace is our process as we spread light to one another. As we say it, so mote it be. Amen. Take a deep breath and relax. Thank you for joining me, whether you're watching this live or later on. I love you guys too. Remember to make every decision with love in your hearts, and you'll go in the right way. I hope you enjoyed our time together. Hello. And hopefully I'll be back on soon. I haven't been as good with this as I intended to be in the beginning, but I have been working a lot on Zoom. You can follow me on here, look at my website, join my email list, because now I have a wonderful assistant named Chelsea who has been keeping me going and getting the word out for me. I thank you all for coming and for listening, and I pray that we will all see this year as a year of growth and strength, and a year when we are truly empowered and truly support one another. So I'm signing off. I'm sorry for those who came in kind of late, but this is being recorded, so you will be able to watch the replay. And again, the different decks that I used were the Angel Tarot, and then we did Soul Coaching, and then we did a lot of decks today, and then we did El Quay and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. So if anybody wants to tell me how to pronounce that properly, I'd be greatly appreciative. The Tarot Grand Lux. And then the final card was from Beyond Lemuria. So now that we've done our talk, I think we should do one more from Beyond Lemuria. Let's see what they give us. And this also... Now, I just shuffled the deck, and if you were here earlier, you would know this is the card that we got when we first pulled. Now, I don't know if you could see, but that came from the center of the deck because I did shuffle the deck again. But apparently, Spirit feels the need to give us the exact same card that we had earlier. So this is the solar plexus chakra, and this is about being radiant and being an illumination for others. So be that loving person. Try to listen with a loving ear. Try to really uplift those around you and look for solutions. Look for positive things to come out of everything that's happening around you. Your solar plexus is where your balance is, and it's where we are connected to others, to Earth, to our universe, to the galaxy, to Source. Solar plexus chakra. We'll talk about that more later. I mean, we should probably do a little talk on chakras if you guys are interested. So I'm going to go now. It is, oh my goodness, it's 1:20 in the morning. I have to do it when Spirit tells me to. So you guys have a great night. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, everyone who was here. Lisa, Melissa, Amit, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, Nicole, Chelsea, and Eileen. Thank you all for being here for this live. And I know it's early in the morning. I got to get up. So I'm going to let you guys go. If you have any questions or there's anything that you would like to see discussed, please let me know. Just leave me any kind of, you could message me on Messenger, or you can leave me a note on my page or any of my pages. Just let me know what you'd like to see, and let me know if you need anything. If there's anything that you need right now that, you know, we can give you so far as support and listening, and maybe talking about things that other people aren't willing to talk about, or that other people just haven't talked about yet. Thank you, Lynn. I'm glad that this was good timing. And I will see you guys in a couple of days. Love you. Namaste and aloha.